The majority of illegal drug users and dealers in this country are white, but 3/4 of all the people incarcerated for drug offenses are African American or Latino. As a result of mandatory minimums, the families of non-violent offenders are separated for years on end. This has a destructive effect on our communities, on families, and erodes America's faith in its criminal justice system.
When I was 23 years old, I was indicted because I was part of a drug ring.
Went from marijuana to crack cocaine, and eventually I was indicted.
20 grams or more of cocaine base, which is crack cocaine, and I was sentenced to 20 years.
Last year, I pleaded with the president to commute his sentence, and in December, Alton Mills came home after 22 years behind bars.
In the drug ring, I played a courier. And at the time that I got my sentencing, I was 24 years old. I was sentenced to a natural life in prison for a nonviolent offender. I have never been to prison before in my life. Why should a person get a natural life sentence for nonviolence?
There's no proportionality anymore. We need to restore proportionality in our criminal justice policies. We need to restore fairness and effectiveness. Long sentences do no one any good.
But the bigger cost, in my mind, is not the economic one. It's not the financial one. It's not the fiscal implications on the federal government. It's the human cost. The fact that we have husbands and fathers, sons and brothers and uncles and nephews sent away for years, often decades at a time, is unconscionable. It's not something that we should be doing.
I remember I was crying, and I was looking in the mirror, and I was just like, you know what? I wasn't born to sell drugs. I wasn't born to go to prison. My brother wasn't born to die here, and I made a decision that day that I was going to do everything possible to try to better my life mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and live like I was going home tomorrow, because I had to actually believe that that if I just continued on this path, that somehow, some way, that the door would open for me.
Senator Lee just said that this is an American issue. This is an American issue because we lock up so many more people than anybody else. If there's something that we should be known around the world for is we're really good at locking people up. And that has to change.
I think that law enforcement, current and former law enforcement officers, particularly those who come from affected communities, the communities that have been most impacted by the policies that we've seen relative to sentencing, have a responsibility to address the system that we've served, that we put our lives on the line for, and that we continue to serve. It's our responsibility now to ensure that that system operates fairly.
And I'm only here not because I'm smarter or brighter or I had a better upbringing. It's just because of the opportunity and the circumstances of how I was raised after my adolescence. And so for my friends and for Corey Jacobs and for all of the stories across the country of guys that are stuffed behind bars for crimes they did years and years ago, so many non-violent offenders, so many first-time offenders that are given life without parole and just, thrown away the key.
We'd be fools if we didn't have the ability to make mistakes, but we'd be even bigger fools if we didn't have the good sense and the strong judgment and the willpower to admit when we have made a mistake.
There's a lot of families that need their loved ones home. And most of all, my attorneys, my Angel Cody and Amanda Graham. Thank you.